Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, let's explore the techniques to create this cool looking audio visualizer right inside After Effects. All right, let's go. All right, let's start by creating a new composition called, let's call it audio visualizer. It's a 1080p, 10-second long composition. Nothing special. Let's create a new solid. Let's call it the background. And let's make another solid called center. And actually, let's make a bit lighter. And scale it down. Let's turn on the title safe action. And this is enough. Now this is going to be our center stripe. And let's type something here like dubstep. That's going to be the track name, and this is going to be the author name, DJ Khalid and Jojo. Those are the names that they use, right? Let's call it Baybels. Choose the Baybels font for this, some different fonts. And let's go and import, file import. We have some images downloaded from unsplash.com. Let's go artist. This is the artist. Let's actually duplicate this center stripe, and let's go to the modes and set it as an alphabet. Now we see the artist only in that stripe. Okay. And let's because the background is black, I can set it to screen, so the background will go away. And actually, let me go ahead and create a null object. Let's call it controls. This is a habit that I have to have all the color controls in one place. So later on in the animation, it's very easy to change the whole color theme of the animation. All right, let's apply some expression controls, color controls. One for background, and that should be a very dark blue. Let's actually lock that panel. Right click on the background layer and apply generate fill. Press E on the keyboard, alt click on this stopwatch right here for the color slot, and pick whip the color attribute of the background, the custom control we just created. Select the background layer, press E, and copy this effect and paste it onto the center. Now we control the background color. Right now you won't see much use of it, but towards the end of animation you'll understand. We need another control for the text color. All right, let's do that. Text color. Actually, let's call it the track. We'll have two color controls for the track and artist name color. For that, what I'm going to do, let's paste the same effects there and press U. Now we have, let's delete these. And let's actually pick whip. Now for this one, it's a track name. And for this one, it's the artist name. All right, let's change it here, track name. What you can do now is you can change the track name and the artist name separate. That's the idea. So still, it's nothing like what we want to see. So let's create another layer, new solid. Let's call it edges. And let's select the rectangular tool here and draw a mask like this. Right click on this layer, go to effects and apply generate stroke on transparent. Now you see the mask right here, and let's have it like 4. Spacing, let's have it at 0, maybe 2. I'm at quarter quality, by the way. That's why you don't see when I type lower values here. So if I go to the full quality, you'll see everything, but let's try half. All right, let's leave this for now and import, file import, the audio track. I'm going to use the same track that I'm using in the background. Yes, drag it here and right click, go to Keyframe Assistant, convert the audio to keyframe, and press U on the keyboard. Let's actually delete these left and right channels for now. Now we have the both channels baked as keyframes. We're going to use that one too, but for now let's create a new solid. Let's call it this spectrum and apply. Go to effect, generate audio spectrum. Now I'm not going to explain every property in this effect. There's a separate tutorial that I've done previously. Please watch that if you want to. In that tutorial I'm going through each and every property, or actually this is very simple to use. Let's just continue. I'm going to type 0. What I'm going to do is that placing the starting and ending points to the upper end of this center stripe 920, so the effects would run from here to here all the way across the composition. 858, 858. All right, now let's select the audio track from here. Now this is what you would see, but still I don't see it that much. So what I'm gonna do, decrease this value down to like 800. Now we have some detail there, and increase the frequency bands up to like 250, and I want to see it only on side A, so I'll see only the top part, and let's increase the height. All right, now this is what we would see. Okay, spectrum 1, let's duplicate it here. This one, side B, I want the bottom part on this one, and let's move it right there. If you want to be super accurate, then you can type the same value here, and this spectrum would react exactly to whatever the audio you're using. All right, now here's the thing. Because this spectrum, the pattern, depends on the audio track, for some tracks this height would be enough, but for some tracks you might have to increase it a little bit to see something. When you have to do that, you have to do it in two places, right? If you change it here, then you have to come to this layer and change it here as well. So for these reasons, that's why we are creating these custom controls. So let's create those custom controls right now. Let's right click on the controls layer and go to the expression controls and slider control, end frequency, and let's duplicate it. Height 2500 as the preferred height and 800 as the end frequency. And let's link the end frequency and preferred height to our custom controls like that. And for the second layer as well, let's alt click on the properties and pick whip the corresponding values. Now we can control both of these patterns in one place. Now let's duplicate this and actually change the pattern. Let's go to analog lines, decrease the frequency bands a little bit. Let's do the same here. Analog lines, decrease the frequency bands. Now we have a different look there. Now let's actually select these 4 layers and go to layer, precompose, spectrum. Now see what happens. It happens because our controls are here. If you go into that precomp and press U, these expressions are now being disabled, because what the expression says here is that this comp layer, now it's the expression is going to look for this comps. This comp means the spectrum comps layer called controls. There's no layer called controls in the spectrum composition. Press U, there's no such layer, but the expression is looking for that one. So what I have to do is to specify where that layer is. That layer is in this composition, the audio visualizer composition. Audio visualizer, now we have that. Okay, and it has this layer called controls. All right, now it's working again. Let's copy this and quickly paste it onto everything here. All right, let's type U. Now our expressions are now working again. Now let's drag it below this, maybe center. Now let's actually pre-compose the center image and the two texts as well to simplify our composition. Now the same thing is going to happen the moment I pre-compose. Let's call it center. Once again, everything's been disconnected. We have to do the same. Now press U twice. Let's link them back to the main composition. Now our composition is much simpler. Now let's colorize this spectrum. Right click, effect, generate gradient ramp. Press E on the keyboard. Even these two colors I'm going to drive with my controls layer. So let's apply color control, main color 01, main color 02. Let's lock this panel. Let's link these colors like we did earlier. And for the center, these edges, copy the gradient ramp and paste it there. And what I'm going to do is to give some shine to these edges, because it looks pretty dull now. Let's call it edge 01 and let's duplicate it, maybe blur it up a little bit, fast box blur, and set it to add mode. Maybe increase the brush size, and let's duplicate it. Okay, set the brush size even further and blur it even more. Even further and blur it more. Set the brush size to like maybe 20 and blur it even more here, 80. That's good. We're not done yet. Let's duplicate this, the spectrum as well. Let's set it to add, maybe blur it too, but this time directional blur, like 180. Another directional blur, like 500. All right. Now this is what we would see. Now still our edge doesn't seem sharp enough and it's not aligned as well, so let's fix that. Let's scale it down and move it into the place. Actually, sorry about this. This is a mistake that I did when I'm doing it the first time. There you go. Now since I changed it here, I have to copy this and go to the center composition, and here let's delete it and paste it there. Once you do that, the fill effect will be disconnected. You can delete the fill effect, you don't need it. You're just using it as a matte. Now everything's aligned. Yeah, you're back in business. All right, these two edges are not bright enough for me. So let's duplicate this layer right here and move it up and actually change the color of it and delete the gradient ramp and apply a fast box blur. All right, let's set it to add mode and apply a fast box blur and blur it up. Let's duplicate it. I need some shine there. That's what I'm doing. Let's decrease the transparency a little bit. Now I have some two bright lines there. Now let's create some background. The background is too plain. Let's duplicate the background, delete this fill, and apply noise, fractional noise. All right, let's choose like block, maybe spline. Contrast, let's increase the contrast, decrease the brightness. Okay, let's apply directional blur. It's a very high number right there. Okay, let's apply color correction, tint, and change the mode to screen. So the black pixels will go away. So what I can do, let's press E on the keyboard, and for the tint, this color, let's control it with our control layer. So let's duplicate this background. We're going to create another control there. Background gradient color. Let's lock this layer. Map white to this white color. Let's link it there. All right, that's the background gradient color. Now I have some detail in the background as well. what else I can do? Oh, just for fun, let's copy this and go to the center. Yeah, paste it right there. Now we have, press U on the keyboard. Now we have the audio baked into keyframes. Let's write an expression to the scale. Alt click, get this value from here. Var input equals to this, and var temp equals to ease. Now I've explained everything in a previous tutorial. You can follow that. I'm just going to use this function now without explaining anything. Is input, that's our input. 0 is the lowest value I can expect from this property, and the highest value I'm considering from that property is 50, and the scale has to fluctuate between, let's say, 45 to 60. The scale of the image is now being animated according to the audio. I think it's too much. Let's call it 55. And anchor point, let's move it down a little bit. That seems okay. Let's close it. And here, let's duplicate this edge layer and increase the brush size up to like 20 and blur it up a little bit like so. All right. And here, for the transparency, let's actually paste the same expression that we've written, but for here we don't need two values. Is input 0 to 50 and 40, not 45 to 55. Let's do 10 to 100. Now the glow on the edges would also react to the audio. You know what, let's control the color of this glow too with our main controls. Let's call it the glow controls, glow color, and it's going to be white at the moment. For the stroke has a color, let's link that, the stroke color, let's link the stroke color to the glow color. Let's not use a separate control for that, a separate effect for that, like a fill effect. All right, now we have done that. Now we can change that glow color if you want to. We'll always use a light color, but something that goes with our color scheme. Let's also animate the background gradient a little bit. We have the fractional noise. Let's type time times a decent amount, like 350, for the evolution attribute of the fractional noise. It seems that we are still seeing the edge a little bit of the image here. So let's fix that. Let's grab the ellipse tool and draw a mask there, and press F on the keyboard to reveal the feather attributes, and let's feather it up a little bit, and let's add some glow here just to spice it up a little bit. A little bit of glow there, and for this one too, a little bit of glow there. All right, let's actually colorize the artist face as well. Come in here, apply color correction tint, and for this one, let's actually create another control right here, artist face. Now how to write the expression here? Actually, let's do that. Comp, we know what the comp name is. That's the audio visualizer, and there's a layer called controls, and in that we have an effect called artist face. That effect has a property called color. That's our expression. You don't have to do that, by the way, if you really want to pick whip. If you don't want to write all this, I'll show you that as well. What you can do is you can select this controls layer, lock the effects controls panel, and go to the center, alt click on this stopwatch, and just pick whip. Once you do that, the same expression will be generated by the software. Yeah, at this point it's almost done. Let's use another VCO. Let's use a third-party plugin. I don't usually do this, but you know, when it comes to Video Copilot, I always want to use this. Let's add I want this flare right here, that's all. I just need this this flare stripe right there. And let's decrease the brightness a little bit and change it to add mode. Let's leave it at a very light blue color. Duplicate it. Now this is optional. If you don't have the plugin, then don't worry about this. We have much brighter edges here. All right, now here's a moment of truth. Let's try to colorize. Let's go for a green color theme and dark green. I'll use dark green for the background and maybe a yellow and an aqua for the text. And let's play with the height and end frequency too. And let's change all this to a light green and maybe an aqua color, maybe a dark green there because it's too bright. All right, let's go ahead and for the artist face also let's choose a green color. Everything is going to be in the same theme. The center seems a bit too bright, so let's actually reduce the transparency of these two lines there. And the expression we wrote here, let's amend the expression a little bit. Let's write value plus. Once you do that, then you can decrease its transparency as well, this value as well. And that's one way to do it. And for fun, let's change it again. Let's repeat what we did, but this time let's go for a blue theme. See how easy it is to change the whole color theme now because of the way we made it. This way of working is actually super useful because you can come up with multiple renderings with different looks and really convince your client. Alright, that's how you can make a simple audio visualizer for any track. You just have to change your audio track and everything will react to whatever the audio track that you place. So yeah, we explored some techniques here, but you know, at the end of the day, what we did is a very basic animation here. There's nothing tricky, but for the next tutorial, let's actually move a little bit forward and create something even more complex. All right, I'll see you then. Thank you very much. Bye bye.